We're joined on the source right now by an award-winning Brock professor, Julia Baird from the Environmental Sustainability Research Center joins us right now. Julia, first off, congratulations on your award, the 2020 Water's Next Award. Kind of an interesting title. How did this come about? I understand you were nominated last year as well.
Yeah, so I was really pleased to find out that I had been nominated again this year, and this time around I won. It's an award that is given to an academic in Canada, and it's based on the work that you're doing, and it tends to go to people who I think have a part of what they do have a really practical application, as well as, be important to the academic field that they work in.
It's quite important to you as well because the members of this organization include people in the government as well as academics, also people from non-governmental organizations and the industry itself.
Yes, absolutely. And so I consider myself a sustainability scientist. And what that means is that we're very interested in solving real world problems and using research as a way to help contribute to those solutions. And so coming into a community like the Canadian Water Summit, where it is a very diverse group of people with a common passion for water, it's just really thrilling to be recognized in this kind of way. And hopefully, it helps me do my job even better.
Are you originally from Niagara? Can I ask that question?
You can ask. I'm not. I grew up on a farm in southern Manitoba, and I've lived in several places across Canada since then. But I've been in southern Ontario since about 2011, and been in the Niagara region since 2017. So still pretty new.
The reason I asked that question is because I wanted to get a feel for how you feel that we might be taking our water for granted here in the Niagara region, because it's in such great abundance, it surrounds us. When you compare that to your experience in Manitoba, it must have been really different for you.
Yeah, and studying water across Canada, you start to see some common trends, and one of those is that we do tend to just believe that water will always be available to us. Growing up on a farm, I can tell you that water was very often the topic at the dinner table, and so I learned very early on that you don't really take water for granted. There were many situations in my childhood and early adult years where water was not abundant, and we were worried about whether or not there would even be a crop, and other cases where it rained too much, and that's the same sort of challenges, but the reverse, that you're kind of trying to always hit that sweet spot, and you really have no control as a farmer over whether or not you hit that sweet spot. But yeah, so I think I have a keen kind of sense of water being a real issue, even if we don't believe it is.
Your research at the Water Resilience Lab at Brock has shown that our water supply can be stressed by climate change, by pollution, by increased demand as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're focusing on those issues in Canada and in other places. And also thinking about, even if these are not issues that are maybe clear and present to us in this moment, thinking about what the future might hold. And I use this concept of resilience quite a lot, which essentially acknowledges that there's uncertainty in the world, and I think the current kind of COVID-19 pandemic is a really kind of important example of that, where it's not something that a lot of us expected, but wow, has it had an impact on us in a major way, and that these sorts of things continuously happen in different areas of our lives, and so water challenges, while they might not be a big concern right now, who knows what the future holds. We try our best to predict what the future might hold, but we also have to kind of be prepared for the unexpected as well.
Can you talk about the partnership that you have formed with the Environmental Sustainability Research Center and the World Wildlife Fund?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to speak to that. It's a very exciting. We've worked with the World Wildlife Fund Canada in the past for several years, and it's so wonderful to be able to create a formal partnership out of that previous kind of collaborative work. So it's a 5-year partnership. It's focused on freshwater and resilience. And what we are trying to do in the early stages of this partnership, so for the next year or two, is really focus on a watershed in primarily in New Brunswick called the St. John River Basin, and study how water decisions are made. And we have a specific focus there on flooding because flooding is a real issue and it's become more frequent and more severe in recent years, largely due to climate change and its impacts. So yeah, that's what we're kind of initially focused on, and it's super exciting because it's not only exciting as a researcher, but we feel that we're having a real world impact, and there's lots of opportunities for students to be involved too, and that's kind of the trifecta when we're thinking about what we want to be doing.
Julia, thanks for joining us today. I'm always amazed at the scope of the research that is being done at Brock University, and your research center is certainly a big part of that. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.